Okay, so lately I've been super into the whole idea of using fellow staff members in your school or fellow teachers from your area or around the world as resources in which you can better prepare yourself to teach your students effectively. And thinking about my daily math calendar journey in regards to using other teachers as resources, I've already talked to Darlene Kusik, a math teacher who teaches grade 3 in our school. She has her master's in math, and she's just um, crazy, super knowledgeable about daily math calendar and how it can be used effectively with students. And I thought I'd search the internet. And when I was on searching, I just used Google, and I came across a lot of links that had to do with kits or resource guides for teaching calendar math, or Teachers Pay Teachers had lots of daily activity worksheets for students. But I came across a website finally called Teaching in Room 6. And the website is developed by a teacher in the United States who teaches a grade 4-5 split, and she refers to herself as Mrs. M. And Mrs. M says that calendar math by far is the most useful thing we do in mathematics all year. So that's directly from her words. And Mrs. M describes the intent or the purpose of calendar math as to allow students to see the key strands and the key standards they need to learn. And those key standards are fractions, decimals, place value, composite and prime numbers, algebra, and graphing. So right from the start, you could tell that Mrs. M had a very positive outlook on calendar math, and this made me intrigued to look further into it, especially because I had just read the academic article by Etheridge and King that kind of give calendar math a negative tone. So in the daily math calendar portion of Mrs. M's website, Teaching in Room 6, she talks about the positives of using daily calendar math, and she outlines three major positives. So number one, a good positive is that daily calendar math allows the teacher to track each student's progress in a daily fashion. And that's what I've noticed too. You can, if you use certain strategies, or if you're looking for certain strategies in calendar math, you can look to see, you can directly see all your students engaged in a process that hopefully will allow you as a teacher to understand if they can grasp that strategy or not. And it really, based on experience, it really allows you to see what students can and what students can't. Number two, the next benefit or the next positive is that curriculum becomes more true to the life of students, more true to real life. And that's also something I've noticed in teaching daily calendar math. Daily calendar math should be applicable to the real life of students. We're using a calendar. A calendar is something that we use all the time. I can't even count how many times in a day I refer to my planning book, my calendar book, to see what is going on and to help me get organized. The third and perhaps biggest positive that Mrs. M outlines in daily calendar math and using it daily in the classroom is that it's more interactive for students. With the amount of hands-on activities and the amount of gestures you can use, the amount of opportunities where students can talk to each other and show each other different things, students are allowed to draw, represent, all that allows them to become what Mrs. M refers to as constantly involved in the process. I think personally, in seeing my students use daily calendar math and in using it, that is the most beneficial. Calendar math allows you to be so flexible. It allows you to introduce strategies and concepts on the fly, different ways of completing different understandings for the students in math. It's just such an opportunistic time to really constructively involve students in the process of number sense and developing number sense. So one of the things I found most beneficial in Mrs. M's Teaching in Room 6 website was that she actually describes the steps in which to implement calendar math in a classroom. So as compared to just buying a teacher resource guide off the internet on Teachers Pay Teachers or whatever, and developing something that you really have no idea about, I found this really helpful, especially if I was a first year teacher and I was developing my understanding of math calendar for the first time. So the first step Mrs. M talks about is really look at your curriculum. Think about your curriculum and try to incorporate as much of your curriculum as you can daily in the use of your calendar. And that's something that's been great so far for me. My students have really, really been delving into different strategies of subtraction and addition, and using those skills daily in Math Calendar has allowed me to teach little mini lessons in Math Calendar. And then after Math Calendar, we can go directly into activities that involve students furthering your understanding of those curricular outcomes. And because you repeat daily Math Calendar daily, it must impact the students' lives. And there is must-haves, as Mrs. M calls them or refers to them in daily Math Calendar. And those must-haves are the applications to the daily life of students. Number 2, designate a calendar math space. So I was lucky when I came into the grade 1 classroom. Mrs. Hanna, or Lisa Hanna, my mentor teacher, had already had a calendar math space. There was a space on the wall that I could use, but what she mostly focused on with her students was the space that she had developed via the smartboard. So on the smartboard, there was the calendar, there was a place for tallies, a place for one more, one less with the date. There was a place for weather graphing and stuff like that. So I was lucky that space is already set up. Mrs. Hanna also had daily calendar math books and folders for the students already prepared. So number 3, set up a routine. Mrs. M that says that setting up a routine should be a very, very applicable and approachable system that your students and you can use. And this routine, Mrs. M talks about it over and over again, will become repetitive. It should be something that students repeat daily, and that's one of the main core concepts of calendar math, is that the daily application of real life problems will help students understand mathematics and develop a number sense over time. Your calendar math space should be synced with your routine, and just because you have a routine doesn't mean you can't take learning opportunities. Like I said, one of the core parts of calendar math is the daily application of real life problems with students. So using that real life application of calendar math to students and to their lives, whether they be at school or at home, that really helps students further develop a number sense and understanding of how calendar can be used as a tool to help develop number sense.